Es su compa Frank Valtierrez, and I believe everybody should have a little bit of knowledge on how to fix small things at home. That way you're not calling somebody to come fix something every single time. And in today's video, we're gonna be installing 4 new lights in this ceiling right up here and these 2 fixtures. So I went to the store and I picked out as many as I could, like all these lights. I'm like, options that you guys would probably have when you go shopping for new, we call these can lights, recessed lights. That's the fancy words. It's just little circle lights that you can put in here. And technology has really helped that now they make them canvas, because it used to be really thick. And now, you know, you got some that are really, really thin. And these are a little bit thicker because they are able to swivel like an eyeball. So I want to show you guys how we're going to install 4 of them here in the ceiling. That way you guys can do it yourself at home. You get that knowledge. And later on, we're going to explain what's the difference between all these lights, because if you go to the store, it can be overwhelming. Like, what's the difference? Why are some so expensive and why are some more inexpensive? Is there a difference? And in that video, we're going to cover on the next topic. But today I want to show you guys how we're going to install these 4 lights, because when you're on the job and you're ready to rock and roll, you know, you just want to get in, get out. So this video is going to be more showing you guys how to do it, and then the next one will be back in the office, and I'll show you guys what's the difference between these lights. Those are just some old switches. We're going to do another video on how to switch out switches too. But look, we were just taking it apart and it just all disintegrated, came into little pieces. There's that cap right there. So we're going to swap it out. We're going to actually add one more on here. So let's, this blue is your power, yellow is your switch leg. We're going to run one more wire from there to this box. So then that way we can get a new light right there, because that one was like an old where you just pull the chain on it. They call it a pull chain. So let's finish this up right here. And then we're gonna add the 4 new lights right there. Okay. And I'm gonna show you guys how to do that. This machine right here has been worth every single penny we've paid for it. It cuts holes for those can lights that we're gonna put in. So you get the template, you measure it out to 6 inches. And then this collects the dust. But what it does, it cuts a perfect circle. That way when you put in your new lights, it doesn't have the jagged edges that come. It just cuts it really, really nice and clean. So this is for sure a much recommended tool. If you cut a lot of them, if you're just gonna do 1 or 2, it doesn't really matter. But if you do a lot, this for sure is really good for you. So I've been doing this electrical work since about high school. And so maybe I'm 35 now, so about 19 years. And what's really cool is with these new LED lights, it doesn't matter where you cut, because they're so thin. If you hit a, we call it a joist, right? Or a piece of wood, a stud, it doesn't really matter because they'll fit flush. So let's cut this one. We got our measurements in. Make sure that you don't have it on hammer drill. See, like here, we hit a joist on the wood. So before, you have to really measure and go upstairs and make sure that you're not hitting anything. But because these new LED lights are so thin, you're able to fit them right here, and it doesn't really matter if there's a piece of wood there. But if you see there, this little machine cuts perfect circles. And this is old plaster wall. So if you would have used like a drywall saw, that's a pretty thick, you have metal in there. So it would have been a lot harder to cut. So let's continue our project. It just needed a little push from the attic to go from one side to the other, and then we'll loop around, loop around, loop around. Where did you go? Loop around right there. So sometimes you gotta go in your attic. It's hot out there. In the case of these lights, we run this flex. You're allowed to run this flex as long as it's not over a certain length, and as long as it has a green wire in there. So we have to cut just a hole right there. There's plywood on top right here, so that's why we can't get it through. That's why we have to go in the attic. When you run your new, they call it flex cable, you want to make sure you get a good secure connection there with your lock nuts on the old box. I'm going to show you guys how to cut these and then connect them into your light. And then you connect them and then they turn on. So let's cut these ends off. This one's a little long, snip it right there. Then we got this one on here, so it's connected to the rest of it there. You take this and you bend it in half. It's kind of hard to do with one hand. So you take this and you bend it. Let me show you guys. There it is. You give it a little yank and then you take these side cutters. And it's hard to do with one hand. I forgot my tripod. There you go. And you cut it. Boom. So this right here is called 14-3. This typically you would use a 14-2. 14-2 means that you have a white, you have a green, and you have either a red or a black. This one has an extra cable that we're not going to use. This is called 14-3. But you don't need that here in this application. It's maybe for like a fan or something like that, but this is not going to be used. So we're just going to use these three right here. We're going to cut this one. We're going to bend it right here, same way, and then take the side cutters, cut this little piece off, and then that'll give us this extra wire right there. So what you do on here, this is called a 3/8 inch flex. So you want to put some connectors on here, and then it has a little lock nut which you stick into the housing. It's called the LED driver, and you can switch there it is, the different color temperatures, 3000, 4000, 5000. I love the 5000s, but some people don't. You stick one on one there, one on this side, and then you connect it to the white and to the black. So let's do that. So here's the final connection. We do the blacks, the whites, and the greens. You just they're called like a snap-in, so you just literally stab them in there and they connect and they're secure in there for the most part. Every now and then they come out, and I've seen it before. So that's how it is. You close the cover and then you connect the light to here. I'll show you guys how to do that right now. Alright, so for the final part, this is the LED connection for the light. I love LED lights, they're so cool. This is the other side. Well, where are you? One's the male, one's the female. And then you just line it up. There's like a little indent right there, so you can't mess it up. You put it in there, and then you screw this. You should be good. There's how the final connection product should look right there. There's a light, and now you just put it inside. These grab a hold of the side, the drywall, the plaster, whatever you may have on your ceiling, suspended ceiling. So let's put it up. And there's how the final product should look like right there. We're just gonna clean a little bit of the dust around there. We're gonna do that for there, for there, for there, and then we're gonna hang a light right there. But that's how it should look, the final product. And then this is the after. Once you're all said and done, you put them all together as we talked about on the previous couple minutes. This is how the end result should look. This is that new fixture that was there. 4 new can lights or recessed lights, and then this is that other one that was that old pull chain, and now it can go from here, and these go together like that. There you go. Do it yourself project at home, maybe, if you're brave enough and you want to put a little bit of work and make sure that you see and you're like, yes, I was able to put those lights there. Every time you walk into the kitchen, you're like, you know what, I put those up. Then here's a project for you. So with that, Frank Gutierrez, and I believe everybody should have some knowledge and a little bit more knowledge on how to do yourself projects at home.